Welcome everybody to our webinar from Appointlink called What's New in seatGEN 3.0. My name is Patty Zadrowski and I'll be walking you through this webinar today. I work in software development at Appointlink, mostly in testing and customer support. I was involved in this latest upgrade of seatGEN and would be happy to answer any questions you might have about seatGEN. This webinar covers seatGEN in detail, and it will be found at our website www.seatgen.com, and then you select the webinar series. Today's topic, we're just going to go over what's new, what's changed now that we've gone to a cloud-based software. There are a few things that are different. Corinne is not with us today, but if you have any questions, she is our product specialist and can give you information about all the different products Appointlink supports and provide you with plan information. So today, as we said, this is a pretty straightforward agenda. We're going to talk about the new features in seatGEN 3.0 and talk a little bit about migrating from 2.0 to 3.0. Okay, let's get started here. So if you go out to www.seatgen.com, from there you're going to see this information and you are able to sign up for a free trial for 30 days. Other things you can find here is the plan information, some frequently asked questions, and most importantly, the webinar series. All of the webinars that are scheduled and previously recorded webinars can be found from this page, and you'll see them listed here. If you'd like to sign up for another webinar, you can click on this link and sign up and join us for the next one. Okay, so we're going to select Login. And on this page, this is your login page, and you'll find a couple of options. If you want to try seatGEN out and you're not sure what you want to do with it, but you want to see how it works, you would probably want to select Start the Trial as a Guest. This will allow you to go in as a guest and try out seatGEN with some demo data and see how you like it. It will put a cookie on your machine so that if you come back in, you can still use the data for playing around with it. But once you delete that cookie, then that data is going to be gone. So the next thing you could do is sign up for a 30-day trial, which if you sign in with your Google authentication or Office 365, you will get a 30-day free trial, which you can then upgrade if you like. And that information is good for 30 days, obviously. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select Start Trial as a Guest, which will take me in and try to collect some data here about what you're trying to do. So what best describes your need? Are you a business? Are you K through 12 education, college, university, law school, etc.? So in this case, we're going to pick college and how about IT academic support? It really is, it has no bearing on how the system works for you, but it will, it's just something we collect so we know how to present the data to you based on how you're going to use it. Okay, from this screen, you have some options. You can import your own data by, selecting the Use My Data Photos option, or you can select Try with Sample Data. For this walkthrough, let's do the sample data. It's going to load all the data for me here. Okay, so this is your home screen, and as you can see, you've got 3 courses that loaded with sampled people in these courses. Down the left side, you'll see the menu options. That's mainly what you need to navigate through seatGEN. And then on this home screen here, you normally will see you can search for different types of items. You can search for different groups, courses, people, places, help topics, etc. So you have some shortcuts here, and then you can also do a search. Over here, this little indicator here is for list view, tile view, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. and we're going to walk through all these different options. So let's see. First thing we're going to do is let's expand this course. So on the screen, it's going to expand this corporate taxation class, and it allows you to see everyone that's enrolled in this class. If there's a teacher, you'd also see the teacher here. And then everything that you can do with this course. So we can see here that there is a seating chart associated with this. If we wanted to seat people, we select the seating button. And for those users who had the older version of seatGEN, you'll notice that this part is identical. At the top, you have your student picker where you pick who you would like to seat, and you drag them and drop them onto the seat. And it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so once you have the people seated, if you wanted to find out about the person in a seat, you can click on their image, and it will bring up their student profile and give you some information about them. Now, this is based on the information that you import, which is another topic we can discuss. But at this time, this is just sample data here. But you would find whatever it is that you imported, whatever you wanted to display, would be shown here about that student. Okay, so once you have your people seated, the next thing you might want to do is to print the chart. So if you select the print button, you have several options on printing the chart. The first thing being that you can print the names in various ways. First name, then last name, first name, etc. We also have included an option that says you can put the first name in their role. This may be used for something besides students. Maybe you have a choir or something along those lines where you might want to say first and then put what section they belong to, or maybe they're an oboist or a violinist or something. Okay, then down below, you can leave the font size as is, or you can select a different font size. Once you see the PDF, you may want to change it based on what your needs are. We always include what we think is the recommended way of printing this chart based on the chart you picked, but you can also override that by selecting the manually select option, and then you can select different page sizes, different orientations, and a different number of pages. So if I just leave this as is with the recommended and I select Generate PDF, the PDF will appear in the window. You can see their names are on here. And at the bottom is, this is a stylized version, so it's got this colored banner down here with information about the course. And from here you can print, you could download the PDF, etc. Okay. All right, so we talked about the seating and the printing. There are some other options of things you could print. Besides seating charts, you could print flashcards. Again, you have options for first and last name. I think I skipped over the stylized option here. You can do stylized or normal. Stylized basically adds a colored banner to everything, whereas the normal just gives you your font with no color options. Okay, so for flashcards, you have your options of one-sided with a photo and information on the same side, or two-sided, photos on one side, info on the other. So if we leave that as it is, then you can see that it prints these handy-dandy flashcards that you can use for your students. Okay, just a few more things here. Let's see, tent cards. If you've not seen tent cards before, you can do 1 or 2 per page. And with the new version of Stylized, you not only get the photo now, you also get the banner at the bottom. So it kind of cleans it up a little bit, makes it a little brighter. Let's see if we covered all those. For the most part, we also have a student roster if you'd like to see that. Let's see here. Yeah, and it will include all the images and the person's name on it. Okay, so if you're on this home page, there are a couple different things. You have a action button here. The action button, if you select that, is going to give you the same options that we saw on the expanded, where you can do flashcards, tent cards, print the seating chart, etc. And then this edit is for editing the course itself. So there's a couple ways to navigate around seatGEN. So the first one here, if we selected edit, okay, it takes us to what they call a group, because a course would be considered a group. And this information is now editable. We could change the name of the course, any of the information, and you can also add additional attributes that we allow. So if you wanted to add a course CRN here, if you selected it, you could manually add something there. Down here, you'll see this is the membership for the course. So these people are enrolled as students in the course. There is no instructor here, and if you wanted to do that manually, if you typed in this box, it should show you anybody that's in the system that hasn't already become a member here. So we have Philip Franco, and we can change this to say that his role is instructor. And we will select him, and now he's the instructor of the course. Additionally, over here on the right, this is where we select which room we would like for this course. So if we didn't want classroom 5 anymore and we wanted to put them in the conference room, we could do that. You could also have multiples. You can add a second room. Maybe you still do want to have classroom 5. You can also add, for basically read-only purposes, start date and start time. It isn't necessary, but you can add that so that it shows up on your reports. And when you're done making all of your changes, you select save. Okay, so now we're back to the beginning, and if we expand this, we see now that we have 2 classrooms associated, and we have buttons that pertain to each one. So the flashcards, tent cards, that applies to just the group in general, and then the specific items that have to do with this room are under each room name. Also, just a few things here. You can click the room if you want to find out some information about the room quickly. So when I click that, then I get this option, and it tells me how many seats are in the room, how many rows, and if there are multiple courses associated, it would list all of them here. Also, you can edit from here, which we'll show you in a little bit. So if we go back to our sample, we open this up. Same thing here with the students. If a student is enrolled, or an instructor, in different groups, you will see that here. When you click them, it will say, okay, here's what they belong to. They're in this course, he's an instructor in this course, his people attributes are here, and then of course if we wanted to print this information about him, we could. Also, if you need to get to a quick photo directory, if you select people, and as you can see, you will see all the people that you have. This is where you might want to use your tile view versus list view. Here's a list view of the people, and here's the larger tile view. Same with places. If you want to see a sample of what the room looks like, it's best to use the tile view. But if you were just looking for a list, you can go to the list view. Okay, and again, you can find each of these items here. We started here on the sample courses, but if I decided to go down here and look at groups, that's where we were before. This is just a different way to navigate there. We find the sample courses folder, and there are those groups. And again, we can look at the information, select edit, will take us back to the screen we were on a few minutes ago. So if we select people, not either. Okay, how about this? Okay, so I was looking for someone named Candace, and Candace appears. and it gives me her information. It's a quick way to get to a certain person. If you've got hundreds and hundreds of students and you're just trying to modify one of them, you can find them this way, and then you could select edit. Very similar to the groups, you can modify the information manually, and you can add additional attributes. seatGEN supports several, so there's an entire list of additional items you could add manually, or if you wanted to import them through a file, that's another option. Down here, if you click this advanced role and group options, it's showing you that this person, they have these two roles. You can add another role if you just select the space bar, and it will bring up all the options for roles. You could make this person an assistant, and you could add them to groups here, or you could go through the other direction where you go to the group and add them as a member. Either way. When that change is complete, you would select save. And I'm going to cancel those changes. I don't want to change it. Oh, also, while we're in here, if you got a new image for the person, you could delete this image and just drag and drop your new image right here. Okay, let's talk about attendance. So if we go back to this home page here, and we've seated people in this course, and now we would like to take class attendance. You select the class attendance button. You would enter the date that you want the attendance and select edit attendance. There's different ways to take. From here, you can select a mode. So if you want to mark people who are present, they are defaulted to present. That's what the green underneath their image means. You can mark excused absence, unexcused absence, arrived late. So let's select arrived late and say that this person here has arrived late. So now they're marked as late. And you could just go around and select each one and change the mode and select others. Now, if we go ahead and go to the roster view of this attendance, this is just a different way to take attendance. So we see here that Robert is arriving late, and if we wanted to put in a note about that, we could select him from the list, and we could say he was 15 minutes late. We'll save that note. Here we can see his attendance history. We'll keep track of that for the course. And we can see his profile information right here. We don't have to go elsewhere. And you can change the attendance here as well. Maybe this person called in sick. And there we go. So if you select under the check, that column, it will mark them. And then you can go back to the chart view, and those who are seated, you will see their information. That is attendance. All right, and let's talk about places. When we added the sample data, it automatically added some rooms. And as I said, if you go to the tile view, you can see what those rooms look like. If you wanted to make a copy of a room or customize a room, you might want to make a copy first. So let's say we want a conference room, but we don't need this many seats. We could make a copy by selecting it and then pick the copy selected places option. So here you see the one that says copy. If I open that up, it's going to give me information about this room, and I can say edit. I could edit this information over here, and if I want to change the seats, I can select customize. With the customize, we have a whole webinar that tells you about what all of the menu options do. In general, you are allowed to move seats, remove seats. You could add seats, rotate, left. Oh, I don't have it selected. There we go. If you wanted to do that, you can I could copy an entire row, paste it on there, etc. This gray bar tells you where the name of the person will be put based on where you click. So if I Put this there. Let's say I remove these. I was saying that maybe we don't need as many seats on this side. And we remove those, and if I say save, so now I have another room that I can use that's been modified. And if you like to select some more rooms, you can go to New Place, which will give you the library of all of our rooms. And you could pick one that's similar to a room you want and then customize it. You can, we have some filters here by shape, style, rows, seats. And once you put in the filter, instead of this 300, it'll narrow it down to whatever based on your options. Okay, shares. Let's talk about that for a minute. Shares is if you have, let's go back to list view. If you have an instance of seatGEN and you would like to share it with potentially another administrator, a registrar, an instructor, even a student, you can share your instance by creating a share. In general, what you would do is select New Share, and then you have the option, you can invite people via email. So that might be good if you only have one other cohort that happens to be an admin and you need them to be able to get in the system and do what you do. That might be a good option. Now, if you had a semester with all of your professors and you want all the professors to be able to get in and review their seating charts, let's say, you might want to select invite an existing group, where you would invite everyone with the role of instructor to view their courses. And then this final one is if you integrate seatGEN with Canvas or another LMS system, you would use the third option. Again, that is another webinar where we go into detail about that. But for just this overview, let's talk about inviting via email. This here will list what kind of permissions you'd like to give someone. So if you were going to create an admin type share, you would want to make sure that they were allowed to do everything that you can do, which is basically everything on the list. Okay, and then you would enter their email address. And then down here where it says for these resources, this is where you decide if you were just going to share with professors and you only want to see the professors to have permission to see the courses that they are associated with, then you would pick this second option, all groups in which the user has any role. If you're an admin, you're going to want them to see everything, so you would select the first option. When you create the share, you will see on the next screen, we're going to get a link right here. This link is what the person needs to get into seatGEN. So even if they had Google credentials, if they have not been in and you have not shared this with them, they're not going to see what you see. They have to click this link in order to get the shared information. seatGEN does not automatically send an email to them and invite them. That would be a future enhancement. So currently what you would need to do is select the copy to clipboard, and then you would email that link to the person and share it with them. And again, we have an entire webinar topic on how to do the shares for the different roles. And that's all there is to doing the share. If you want to get rid of a share, there's a couple different ways to do that are covered in the webinar. One way to get rid of a share is obviously you could select it and hit delete. At that point, the person would not be able to access the system. Okay, and then we have imports here. So getting your data into seatGEN requires, you can manually enter it, but most institutions I think would probably rather import a file. So the import process is similar if you have seatGEN 2.0 and you send us files and we upload them for you. This gives you the opportunity to take care of your own data, and you can upload it as often as you like and you don't need to wait on somebody else. So your options are to upload a file directly right here. You could put your files out in box.com, and we could schedule jobs to run up to, I believe it's 6 times a day. And then if you were integrating with Canvas, we would collect some information here, import your Canvas files, and you can launch from Canvas. So just so you can see, if I clicked here and I wanted to, let me find a couple files here. Go to the demo files. I could select a couple files, a people file, an enrollment file, and a course file. And we'll see down here that, okay, these files have been uploaded. And the next thing that would need to happen is you need to map the data, meaning these, this information on the left are the column headers that you provide in a CSV file, and the fields on the right are what seatGEN supports, and it will try to map them as best it can if the names match. And if not, you may have to find, like this one says image, and we will map that to image file name. And let's see here, undergrad, college, etc. So you would map all of your data, and once that is complete, you hit next. It will import the data. It will let you know when the job is done. And again, we have another webinar that goes through the specifics of just that feature. Okay, one other thing I want to show you is if you wanted to directly get to a seating chart, you know what you want. You just want to create that seating chart. When you come in here, you can select this create option rather than, so this was our find option. If we went to the create option, it's going to say, what would you like to create or edit? You say, I want to create a seating chart. And it says, for what? So do you want to create a seating chart for one of these courses that is in the system, or do you want it with all people? So in this case, let's say we wanted to do corporate taxation. And now it's going to take any of the rooms that you've already associated with your account and say, which room do you want to see the seating chart for? We've already created one with classroom 5 and 3, but we could always pick another one. So that is a quick way to get where you need to go. It also supports other options, flashcards, tent cards, rosters, attendance. Based on the permissions that you give somebody, some of these may not be available if you didn't give them a share for, let's say, attendance. Okay, and then finally what I wanted to mention was, this is new in 3.0, is that we are able to integrate with learning systems such as Canvas and Blackboard. And you have to set up the LTI share beforehand and import your data, but once you've done the administrative type work, then I wanted to show you that you can actually launch from there. So let's close that for a moment. And I'm going to go over here. This is my Canvas account. And if I go to, I'm going to try my trial advocacy class, and here I have included seatGEN. So seatGEN is a third-party tool that you can add to your courses, and there is a webinar on that as well. So if the person has access to seatGEN from Canvas and they don't need to log in to seatGEN anymore, they could just launch from here. And as you can see, it opened my account that I had set up when it's all configured, and I can go on my way to do what I need to do. There is a webinar on that, and anybody who wants to use that may have additional questions getting through the setup process, and feel free to let us know. We can help you with that. Okay, 2 more things. One is that if you select your name or whatever you might see up here, the guest account, this is where you'll see some details about your account information, what your login is, etc. You can also see what you have access to based on the plan that you have. So here is a free trial plan. It has 29 days remaining. If I wanted to upgrade, I could select that button and do the upgrade through there, or you could give us a call. If you just want to see what the plans are, if you click up here on this trial, it will take you to the plan page where you can review what is included with each plan. There are monthly plans and annual plans. So that is the final thing I wanted to show you, and thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.